Yeah, Miami plays Alabama to start next year. I know.
At least you're going to get a inexperienced quarterback. Now, he is a 5-star, but he's an inexperienced quarterback in Bryce Young.
Cool.
That's going to have for you.
You're going to have a bunch of other 4 and 5 stars everywhere. Like, yeah, the NFL guys who are going to leave for the NFL all left for the NFL because they said, you know, we're not going to stay and use up this year of extra eligibility because, like, why? I'm going to go get paid. But it's a hockey line change for them. You know, you lose 3 5-stars and you slide 4 more in. You know, and you're just like, how do they even work? Like, we just lost 3, and then we have, you know, it's like you know, they had a 5-star defensive end, gray shirt, some years ago. Jarez Parks from he's Florida somewhere. Pat Bethel's cousin, 5-star defensive end, 6'5", 240, wanted to sign with Alabama. And they said, hey, boss, how about you stay up there and work out with your uncle or whoever in a gym until January, and then come in January as a 5-star. And he was like, you know what? I'll do it. Because it's just different. You know? It just... And I mean, yeah, they got dudes. They're always going to have dudes. They're always going to have guys. And they're just a massive, massive, massive football team. Just, especially in the trenches. You know? So you might have different names in some spots, but they just got these big, athletic, fast, tough, physical guys. I mean, and it's going to be tough. You know, I don't think that we're going to win that game. I'm going to be perfectly honest with you guys. I'm going to hope that we do, but I mean, I think it's going to take a perfect performance. I mean, I would say that no, I'm going to leave that there because I already know what y'all would say if I kept going with where my brain went. It will take a near perfect performance for Miami to win that game on September the 4th in Atlanta.
And hope that Alabama turns in a C or a D or whatever you want to.
Well, I'm saying what part of Miami playing a perfect game also includes get 3 turnovers, you know, like that was like that's built into the whole shebang bang.
This is how well Alabama plays against non-conference opponents, and I'm talking about quality non-conference opponents. So I'm starting a little project that's going to take me forever. And basically, I wanted to compare the conferences and how well they've played against the other Power 5 conferences in the last 10 years. So just again, think about that. And I'm not going to just throw out a record. I want to slice and dice the record to put it into context. So it's not just going to be Miami went 10-6 against the other 4 conferences this year over the last 10 years. It's going to be how they do against ranked opponents, how they do when they were the lower ranked team, the higher ranked team, how they do against the group of 5, the Power 5, on and on the road, at home, et cetera, to try to put this into context and even look at the point differential, because you can, I think in one particular game, the point differential may not mean a whole lot, but over that much time, 10 years, the point differential, it speaks volumes. So Alabama in the last 10 years in non-conference opponents, they are 14-4 against ranked opponents. And you know, because of the conference they play in and because of them going to college football playoffs, we're not talking about they're playing the 23rd ranked team in the country and then the 21st ranked. You know, this is packed with, they've lost 4 games in the last 10 years against non-conference ranked opponents. And you know, 3 of them won national championships: Clemson, Ohio State. So those are the only teams they're losing to in a 10-year span.
So you're talking like 14-1 against everybody outside of those 3 games.
Yeah. That they're the national champion and they lost a buzzer beater type game against those kind of teams. So their numbers are going to be skewed way above everybody else's. That's all there is to it. Alabama, Miami. Yeah, that brings to remembrance before your time, of course, 92-93 Sugar Bowl, which everybody thought, including myself, that Miami was the best team in the country, and Alabama just laid the defense on them that particular night. Speaking of Gino Torretta.
And I watched that game. You know, like I said, I would always watch. Look,
Going back, you've watched the game.
I watched the game as a 11-year-old or 12-year-old.
All right.
You know, it was a nationally televised game.
Yep.
You know, it's a major bowl game. So I would see Miami, Florida State, maybe and probably the bowl game, and then Miami in the College World Series. That's what I knew of the University of Miami. Like I said, even when I went to apply as a senior in college or a senior in high school, that's when I found out that Miami was a private school. Like, I didn't know, but I saw them only a handful of times because, you know, growing up in the 80s and 90s, we didn't have all this television now. You saw what was there. But I watched that game and I was like, oh, it's Miami. They're about to wreck shop. And again, I still had my old Script M hat for the Miami baseball team. So I'm like, yo, let me go run, put my hat on. This is my same team, right? And now they're playing here, you know, whatever, cool. And then, you know, George Teague happened and all kinds of other stuff. And I was just like, I remember being like, Dad, like, what happened? Because I thought, you know, oh no, they're the, and my dad was like, I'm the crazy this might sound, right? I'm the toned down version of my father. My father had this personality. That was, I mean, like, he came into a room, boy, listen, he had this kind of, so like, Miami fit his style. He's like, oh yeah, this is why I was born in Anaheim. Moved out to the West Coast with my moms and everything, like, because LA lifestyle fit Big Sean Underwood. You feel me? Like, from Chicago, everybody on the whole Southwest side knew the man. So he's like, oh, okay, cool, yeah, Miami about to do numbers, and then, but no, I watched that game. And hopefully, you know, maybe we can flip that script and do to Alabama what they once did unto us. That would be nice.
That game was a lighter version of the 86 Penn State Miami, meaning 87 Fiesta Bowl game, where Alabama had to play the way they needed to play. They ran the ball, they slammed the fullback over and over. They wanted to throw like 16 passes. Jay Barker was the quarterback. They were good. They could do some things, but they wanted to definitely bleed the play clock, bleed the clock, do all those right things. Maybe not to the extreme of that Penn State team in 86, but close to it. Mm-hmm. There's another game between Alabama and Miami that gets forgotten 4 years earlier, 3 seasons earlier. They played in the Sugar Bowl as well. Mm-hmm. That Alabama team was 10-0, lost to Auburn, played Miami, the Miami team that was probably the best in the country, but finished number 2, that lost to Notre Dame by 1 point in South Bend. That Miami team beat a Derek Thomas-led Alabama team. I believe the score was 33-25 in New Orleans in the Sugar Bowl.
Good times.
Yeah.
Good times.